you're after a second runaround vehicle or a cheap to run hatchback, but you don't want the typical conventional hatchback, this could be a good option for you. It's the Lexus UX 300H. Here I've got the base model luxury. Prices start from just over $55,000 excluding on-road costs, which does seem like pretty good value considering this is a proper premium product. A lot of the mainstream rivals are starting to creep up in price as well. I guess some of the justification there is this model line is starting to age a little bit now. It's based on the Toyota TNGA platform like the Yaris and the Corolla actually. With the luxury you get these rather nice gunmetal grey 17-inch alloy wheels. They're wrapped in 215/60 Bridgestone Turanza tyres. It would be nice to see slightly wider tyres on this, considering it is a premium model. I mean, narrower tyres do help with fuel economy as well, which I'll get to in a second. But yeah, some of the, even the cheaper rivals now have 225s and 235s. Just provides a little bit more stability and grip on the road, especially in the wet. Under the bonnet, we've got a 2-litre petrol 4-cylinder hybrid engine. This is pretty much the same as the system in the top spec Toyota CHR. It uses a 1.4 kilowatt hour battery with a combined output of 146 kilowatts. That's paired to a CVT automatic with front wheel drive. 146 kilowatts seems about right for a package like this. This weighs just under 1,600 kilograms, so it's pretty light by modern terms, but if you go back, 5 or 10 years, that's not that light for a little SUV like this. But keeping in mind, this is a luxury model, so it's got power seats, heated seats as well, a lot of other creature comforts inside. Speaking of which, I like even these doors. They just feel like a quality item. You've got very nice leather seats, very soft. Lexus leather is also always very soft. You do have some cheaper plastics down below, including on the door cards, but it does mean it's going to be pretty durable over the years to come. It does have a protruding dashboard, which does, take up a little bit of space, even your perception of space. And you've got a reasonable amount of storage. You've got a wireless phone charger, twin USB ports, cup holders, and a bit of wasted space down here, like there could be a little tray or something that they could put there. You do have a nice big center console armrest box as well. And up on the dash, we've got the, well, it's not the latest Lexus system. As you can see, there's a lot of white space when you're using the native running software. Once you get Apple CarPlay or Android Auto running, it takes over the whole screen and it's much nicer and more colorful to look at. To access some of these safety systems, you've got to go into the vehicle menu, then you go to driving assist, then you can turn the lane keep assist off if you want to. I think it's a little bit of digging around for that when you've got a button down here that looks like it could do the same thing. Why not just integrate that to, hold it down for 2 or 3 seconds and it turns the lane keep assist off. Actually, if you go back into the car menu, that's where your climate settings are as well, which is a little bit sort of clunky. You do have a lot of the climate settings down here, but if you want to sync it or turn the aircon off specifically, you've got to go into that menu. Even the direction of airflow, you've got to fiddle around a little bit. I mean, it is handy to have most of your controls down here, including your temperature adjustment. It's good to see you've got a start button as well. I don't know if you've heard me say before, but getting in vehicles without a start button is a little bit annoying because sometimes you want to leave the vehicle running, and mostly electric vehicles, you hop out and the vehicle turns off. So if you've got your wife in the car or your partner or whatever, you want to keep everything running. As soon as you get off the seat, everything turns off, whereas this has got an actual start button. It has an actual volume knob as well, which is great to see in my opinion. It means you can just adjust it while you're on the go. You don't have to worry about swiping around on the screen. You've got options down there on the steering wheel as well. You do have a configurable instrument cluster. It's not completely configurable like some rivals, but you can swap around the displays on the left and right and go through about 3 different displays in the middle, like maps and so on. You've got your sport mode there, which does change the background a little bit to red. There's no Sport S Plus in this model, but you do have an eco mode as well. As you can see there, I'm using 5.6 litres per 100 kilometers, which is an awesome rating. That's totally real world. The official rating is 4.2 litres per 100 kilometers. So that's what I mean. If you want this as a second vehicle or something like that, like I know it is a little bit probably too expensive for most people to be a second vehicle, but if you just want to run around, this is awesome for that because you're getting excellent real world economy. We'll go for a drive in a minute. I'll show you what it's like in terms of power and performance as well. And up at the back, look, this is a pretty small vehicle, so it's quite tight in the back here. Even for me, I'm 170 centimeters. And yeah, my head's, it's not getting close to the ceiling, but it is, getting close to that pillar as I'm getting in. Legroom is okay in my seating position. My knees are not close to the seat, but if you're, a normal height person, like 180 centimeters or something like that, and there was a 180 centimeter driver in the front, the seat would obviously come back a little bit. So yeah, I think it would feel a little bit cramped, especially after a long drive. You do have twin climate vents, which is great to see, and twin USB charging options down there. A pocket in the back of just the passenger seat, and a nice big center armrest with cup holders. Sitting in the middle is not that comfortable, like you've got to twist your foot around and so on. My knees start to get close to the center console. The backrest is pretty firm, as it usually is in most vehicles in the middle seat, but my head's not near the ceiling. Look, I think 3 adults across the back here, as long as they're not overly large, you could get away with it for, maybe a reasonably short daily commute or something like that. But if you're doing some long touring or whatever, this probably would start to feel a little bit cramped. I mean, it's a small vehicle. It's not promising to be a large vehicle. It's not a large vehicle, so you shouldn't expect, large vehicle comfort like in any rival as well. And up at the back, we've got about 370 litres of boot space. It doesn't look that big when you just, open the boot lid. You do have a 12-volt socket there, which is nice, a little hook, 4-kilogram hook on the side, some tie-down points. You do have some storage under the floor, which I guess does extend that overall volume. But yeah, 368 litres. It's not massive. It's just enough for the weekly shopping, I guess. But again, this is a small SUV. It's not promising to offer, medium or large SUV practicality. What's great about driving this is that it feels like a Lexus. It's pretty hard to explain what that means exactly, but it's just got a quality, sturdy, reassuring feel on the road. Like, it doesn't feel flimsy at all. It doesn't feel cheap. You'll have to take one for a drive to see what I mean, but even the steering, it's got that connected feel to it, and it's very fluid and smooth. It's like it's gliding around. It's not as, luxurious as upper end Lexus models, but this is a small SUV again. So for that category of vehicle, I think this does very well. Interestingly, this does accept, or it is compatible with 91 RON petrol, which means, you could really maximize the economy potential here. But as I said, 5.6 litres per 100 kilometers in the real world, I think is absolutely awesome. And I'm not doing anything, especially eco-friendly. I'm driving like I normally do. I'm giving it some on the highway and so on. I've got the aircon running, even though I don't really need to. It's a cold day today. So I'm doing everything sort of against it. Well, not against it, but just not making any allowances. And I'm getting 5.6, which is, it's awesome. Now, in terms of ride and handling, I've got a few sticks and leaves to negotiate today because it's very windy. So if you see me suddenly swerving, I'm just dodging a larger stick. But yeah, this does feel quite nice to drive. But again, it does have that Lexus quality about it. Ride comfort is soft enough to be comfortable, but it's sturdy enough to maintain excellent body stability. There's no wobbling going on here. It feels planted. It goes where you point it, basically. You can get the F Sport package if you want a bit more sportiness with larger wheels, lower profile tires and all of that. I think this luxury is a good balance though. It feels like a luxury car. It doesn't feel like a base model. As I said, you're still getting power seats and heated seats and so on. So yeah, I don't think you're missing out on anything there, especially in terms of the driving character. It does feel pretty much the same across all variants. Just give it some. So you do have a CVT automatic, which is not the most engaging in terms of driving enthusiasts' point of view, but it does work very well with this powertrain setup, as in it's very, very efficient. You can feel the electric motor giving you a boost initially, but then the petrol engine is pretty much in sync with your acceleration. Okay, let's put it into the sport mode and just see what happens. Full throttle. See, on camera it probably doesn't feel or look like it's moving along that quickly because the engine's just sort of revving with that CVT character, but it actually pulls quite hard. Look at that excellent handling around there. That's full throttle. It's very well balanced, I think, is the best way to sum up this driving character. It doesn't feel too powerful, even though it does wear those, slightly narrower 215 tires. There's not too much power, but at the same time, it's getting up and going just fine. Like, this is as fast as you need, really. Really nice steering through this tighter section. Yeah, I think Lexus has done a wonderful job with the ride and handling. It's a perfect balance for a luxury small SUV. Going over these bumps, it's not being disturbed, it's not, you know, wobbling all over the place. It's just remaining very sure-footed and confident. Yeah, great little driver's package, I think, but then you've also got the benefit of it being a hybrid and using not much fuel at all. All right, let's head off now and do the performance test and see what it goes like.